Less than 24 hours, Georgians will be under a shelter-in-place order.
McDonald, though, said he did not know the man was handcuffed and was trying to use his foot to pin him to the ground so he could be handcuffed.
If your friends, neighbors, or local organizations are not complying, report them to us.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Free Georgia podcast. My name is Jake Green. Thank y'all for joining us today. We've got a special treat for y'all. We've got the Bibb City Ramblers coming to play some live music for us, as well as do a little interview. We'll get to that in a minute. Before that, please like this video, comment on the video, subscribe to our channels, especially our Rumble channel. We've got strikes on YouTube. We don't know how much longer we're going to be on YouTube because of those strikes. Rumble is proving to be the best place possible for y'all to keep track of all the things that we put out. We have a much bigger audience on Rumble because it seems like YouTube kind of doesn't bring us up in the searches as much as Rumble does. So make sure you go over to Rumble, subscribe there. If you prefer something like Odyssey, subscribe there. If you just want to listen to the audio, you can do it on literally any podcast platform, including the one you're listening to it on right now. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, all the above. And yeah, if you find any part of this whole podcast or anything we talk about or any political ideas interesting that we talk about on this show, or that you're just interested in general and that you have questions about, go to lpgeorgia.com. We have tons of resources on our website, including things like Brushfire speaking course. We've got Second Amendment Range Day with Edgar Mills of Osprey Shooting Solutions. I believe Edgar is also doing let me see. Sorry, this is going to take me just a second to pull that up. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Oh yeah. Edgar also offers, so Edgar's a friend of the show, friend of the party. He hosts Range Day for us quite a bit, or he's done it once before and he's doing it again. And I think it's going to become a regular thing. And we strongly encourage anybody who owns a firearm to go out there and get trained to use it properly. And Edgar is a phenomenal teacher for that. He also has a company that does other kinds of training, including survival training. And he's got a special operations experience. And he would like people to go sign up for it on his website. It's the Southern Ornithological League. That's such a hard word to say. I don't. I'll put it in the description. So go to the Southern Ornithological League and go look at special operations experience. This particular course is not open enrollment. And so if you are interested in taking one of these courses, or this particular course from Edgar, message me on Twitter at DJGreen or at Peaceful Sea. What's our Peaceful Sea Prod on Twitter. You can also email me at podcast@lpgeorgia.com. And it's for very specific people because of what all is involved. It's live fire training, small team tactics, time-sensitive planning, helo or boat infill, team room. It includes team room lodging, all weapons and gear provided, and final meal provided. The tentative dates are October 14th and 15th, potentially October 21st and 22nd. So if you're interested in that, please get in contact with me, and I'll refer you to Edgar, and he can set you up there. As I was saying, anything on our website, go check out lpgeorgia.com for all sorts of information about the Libertarian Party of Georgia, how to join. We always need new members. We need people to join the party. We need more people doing more things to spread freedom and liberty around the state of Georgia. Without further ado, let's start off with a song from the Bibb City Ramblers and then head into the studio to talk to them in person.
This one's called Heat Lightning. This one is written from the perspective of a soldier from the Civil War on a battlefield.
All right, let's do it.
You good? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I left my home not too long ago. Is this all I have to show? All the places I did go. Memories like lightning in my mind, flashing lights keeping time on this battlefield tonight. Holy Ghost, can you hear my cry? For I fear the lightning's near, it has haunted me for years. I can't run, I can't hide, I just hope I don't die. It's heat lightning in the southern skies tonight. Heat lightning in the southern skies tonight. Tears are falling from my eyes. No sound coming from those cold dark skies. And I keep listening for the thunder, I keep praying for the light. Heat lightning in the southern skies tonight. Soldiers camped on the Chattahoochee. An ironclad is tied off on the banks of Girard. Feels like the longest day of the year. I'm so battle-aged and scarred from this old Civil War. I wonder if you see the same sky as me. Heat lightning flashing high. I don't think I'll get much sleep tonight. Tomorrow we'll be on our way just to fight another day. It's heat lightning in the southern skies tonight. Heat lightning in the southern skies tonight. Tears are falling from my eyes. No sound coming from those cold dark skies. And I keep listening for the thunder, I keep praying for the light. Heat lightning in the southern skies tonight.
All right.
Cool.
That was great.
Cool. All right, great. One of the founders of the band is a guy named Brian Fowler. He's our mandolin player. He was all over the records that you listen to. He's been out with cancer for the past 6 or 7 months. He's
Wow.
coming to the other side of it, but we want to dedicate the show to him.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, because he played
Okay.
such a huge role in what we've got.
He's
now.
coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah, he'll be
He's-
I
back.
love
he's-
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love it. First off, introduce yourselves. Like, what's your name and what are your names and where did the name Bibb City Ramblers come from?
Well, I'm Dan Davidson, guitar and harmonica, obviously. Bibb City Ramblers came out of Bibb City, which is a part of Columbus. It was its own city government, I guess you call it. For the longest time, it's right on the river, on the Chattahoochee River, and it had its own police force, and
It was a mill town.
it was a mill town. That's right. That's right. Yeah. But Bibb City came out of that. I lived there when I was young, and just always loved that area, you know. And when we started the group in 2007, we wanted to write songs about local themes, historic events, and that sort of thing.
Okay. That's cool. So y'all started out in that same area in Bibb City?
Well, not really.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of like Goose Creek Symphony, or what else is there? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I'm not very good at this.
I can't say I've heard of Goose Creek Symphony before.
I think what he's trying to get at is that he thought it sounded really cool. That's a band name.
I mean, it does sound really cool. I love the band name. When Elizabeth told me that y'all were going to play at the Great Create, I immediately looked y'all up because I thought the name was sick.
Oh, cool. Yeah. A lot of people get it confused with Bibb County, which is like Macon. That
Oh,
area.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, Bibb City was a mill town, full of like shotgun houses and a lot of history there. And you know, when we started this, like I said, we wrote a lot of songs with local historic themes that kind of fit the theme at first, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. How was y'all's experience at the Great Create? Did y'all get to stay for like a full day, or did y'all just play and then jet?
We did not, unfortunately, and I hope that I get to go back to see the presentations. But we did get to hang out and chat with a lot of the participants there, a lot of the people that were there to see the stuff, and it just had a great time talking with people and hanging out before we played and after we played. So.
Yeah, y'all played for a long time that night. That was very impressive. That seems like an exhausting thing to play for like 2 or 3 hours. That's a lot.
That's about average, though, really, for a gig, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of concerts where the main event only plays for like 45 minutes to an hour. And so
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, how many members of the band do y'all have?
Well, we have Dan and myself. I'm Gini Davidson. I play bass and sing. So there's the two of us. We have, as we mentioned, a mandolin player, Brian Fowler, and then we have a fiddle player that plays with us. And then, as you hear on the recordings, sometimes we have a banjo player too. So.
Nice. Banjo is one of my favorite instruments in a band. One of my favorite bands of all time is Mumford and Sons, and when they got rid of the banjo and stopped using that in their music, it drove me insane.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that banjo player, that dude's awesome. He can really
George
play.
Miles. He's a local legend. He's
we like him a lot.
Yeah, it was almost like he was born with a banjo attached or something.
Wearing a banjo in his hand.
We're going to interrupt right here to bring you song number 2 from the Bibb City Ramblers.
1, 2, 3, 4. It all started with some new disease. All our a prayer as a family that the Lord would see us through. But when the feds started knocking on doors, we didn't know what to do.
Then the TV told us America had sold us to the highest bidder overseas. Trusting God to hold us to his precious bosom, we had no choice but to believe. Till the bombs drop and the earth unfurls, I'll love you till the end of the world.
Till the bombs drop and the earth unfurls, I'll love you till the end of the world. We pulled out the family Bible to read, looking for some peace of mind. It said we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities of another kind. I had a dream that the sky turned white, woke me from my sleep. Thought about all our friends that have died, for their souls we weep.
We fled to the mountains where they couldn't find us, so maybe we could live in peace. But I heard a drone a buzzing in the sky above us. It won't be long till we are seen. Till the bombs drop and the earth unfurls, I'll love you till the end of the world.
Till the bombs drop and the earth unfurls, I'll love you
Till the end of the world.
Love Song
Nice.
for the Apocalypse.
What was the name of that one?
That was called the Love Song for the Apocalypse.
Man, that was beautiful. I love that.
Appreciate it. We just like being able to sing about the feds and the drones.
What was there like a specific instigating event that like allowed the band to form, or did you always want to be in a band like this?
Well, in 2007, a fellow named Will Dockery, who's a local poet and artist here in Columbus, we've been friends for a couple of decades now. And I had been in Atlanta working, and I came back to town, and Will went to Brian Fowler's house, put a note on his door, said the governor is back in town. That's a long story. Will basically had a poetic work about a place called Shadowville. Okay. And that was kind of Columbus, and he made me the governor of Shadowville. But so when he left that note on Brian's door, Brian called me up, and we got together probably 3 or 4 nights a week for a while, and just started writing songs. And then in 2009-ish, Gini came along, and we hadn't even met at the start of the band. She has been a folk singer, guitar player, piano player, all kinds of things over the years. But we asked her if she'd like to play bass with us. And so in 2009, she came in as our bass player and of course, vocalist.
Okay. Jenny, how was that, like joining a band after it was already formed? Like how's like getting in the groove with the band and all that?
Well, it was kind of cool that I had heard a lot of their music in the past, so I was able to kind of jump in and know a lot of the songs already. So I had done a lot of homework. But it was good. It was good. And then I started writing with them after that. And
That's right.
I'm just really thankful that this has all worked out over the years and that I met them. So
nice. Yeah, y'all been together a while now.
Yeah, since 2007, almost 16 years. And then in it was like 2014, we got married in 2011, and we started our family. We were playing music for years, and then in 2014, we had our first child, and so we took a little hiatus, and we actually stopped playing as a band for about a good 3 or 4 years. Maybe even a little longer than that. I can't.
It started as a short hiatus and turned out to be a longer hiatus.
Yeah, well, we had another kid. But now it's really worked out great. When 2020 came around and we saw all the chaos and everybody wearing face masks and just all the wild stuff happening and the narratives that were going around, we made the choice to pull our kids. Well, we only had one kid that was in the school system at the time, but and now Jenny homeschools our 2 young ones at home. And man, I tell you, homeschooling is the greatest thing ever. I mean, you could do a whole segment with her probably on that alone.
So much.
There's so much to talk about. I know Elizabeth Melton's come on the podcast a couple times, and we talked about homeschooling for like over an hour. Like she's very knowledgeable on the subject. Well, that's interesting.
What the doctor did, it took me, out of the workplace. At the time, I was teaching in public school too, and just saw the nightmare and chaos that was going on there, like before the pandemic and like in response to the pandemic, and so. I was able to get out of that situation and had a lot more time on our hands. So that precipitated the band being able to get back together during that downtime. And there wasn't really anywhere to play at first. So we started writing together again. And then eventually we were able to get out and play and kind of rekindle our musical relationship.
Yeah. Actually, most of the songs on Simulation were written. A large bulk of them were written in text messages between me and Brian and Jenny, just text messaging lines back and forth and coming up with chord progressions, shoot little short videos of how about this chord progression, that sort of thing. And then we would meet up at the house and we'd have a song pretty much 90% written and then work on it. We worked on the songs for months and then recorded. That entire album, Simulation, was written in 2020. Is that right? The whole thing was written in the year 2020.
And we began recording at the end of 2020.
That's right. And we started the recording. It was released in 21, but we started the recording at the end of 2020. So you can kind of feel the kind of darkness. I mean, there's a couple of people that die on that record, get chased into the woods by the government and that sort of thing. So, and then there's 2032, which we would have done for you today, but we really didn't want to, throw anybody into too deep of a depression about the future. But,
that's fair. As I was saying, I heard y'all play that at the Great Crate, and it was fantastic. So yeah, I listened to that whole album this morning.
Maybe all this teasing of it will make people go find that song on YouTube or something.
Or Bandcamp.
They should.
Yeah. You can find it at Bandcamp, and there'll be the Simulation album, as well as a live album that we recorded here in Columbus at Sylvan Guitars. And so 2 of the songs that we played today are also on that album. So.
Oh, that's nice. Right. All right. That's awesome. We're going to interrupt right here to bring you song number 3 from the Bibb City Ramblers.
1, 2, 3.
of my birth. Going back to Mobile, Alabama. That's where I began my lifelong search. Nothing but time and my daddy and my mama.
Well, all my life I learned simple things. I learned to cry and I learned to sing, and I learned that everything can all go wrong. Tried to figure out what it means, these passing times and passing scenes, but all I have is this song. And I'm going back to the town of my birth. Going back to Mobile, Alabama. That's where I began my lifelong search. Nothing but time and my daddy and my mama. And I'm going back to the crowded streets of Mobile. And I'm going back just to see how it would feel. I walked till dawn trying to remember. I listened to the voices as they whisper in the wind. My mom told me not to come back to this place. Don't get out, girl, don't you ever show your face. There's a heartache's gonna follow you back here. It will stay with you through all of your years. And I'm going back to the town of my birth. Take me back, boys. Going back to the crowded streets of Mobile, and I'm going back just to see how it will feel. And I walked till dawn, trying to remember. I listened to the voices as they whisper in the wind. My mom told me not to come back to this place. Don't get out, girl, don't you ever show your face. There's a heartache's gonna follow you back here. It will stay with you through all of your years. And I'm going back to the town of my birth. Going back to Mobile, Alabama. That's where I began my lifelong search. Nothing but time and my daddy and my mama. Nothing but time and my daddy and my mama.
Yeah, what I found interesting about the Simulation album. So, do y'all know who Tim Pool is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, he's a
Tim
podcaster, but he also he plays music. He's a really good singer, guitarist, and he makes somewhat political songs every now and then. And like when I associate political songs with a genre, it's mostly like metal or hard rock. And so what I found most interesting was like the juxtaposition of like the folk songs that y'all play with the political themes. That was super interesting and unique to me.
Yeah, we thought so too. Actually, yeah. You don't really see much dystopian folk music, you know.
No, you don't at all. I loved it. I really appreciate y'all, setting this up and working with me and, making this happen, because it's not the easiest thing to record music on a podcast.
Right. I'm just going to look over my notes here, make sure I didn't lose anything.
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. So sometime later this year, when was that? Was it 2021?
Yeah.
Well, in 2021, Gini and I were all the years just run together, man. Gini and I were in a movie here in Columbus that is called The Neon Highway.
Okay.
And we were what you call featured extras.
Mm-hmm.
And we there's probably be like 10 seconds of us, if that, playing a song on stage with a band, and the scene is kind of a Nashville bar scene. And the main characters come on and play after us and that sort of thing. So if you want to mention that, you can, or maybe I should mention it. I don't know.
I think you just did.
I'm terrible at it. God.
Oh, it's all good, man. It doesn't matter. I'm not a professional interviewer, so This is not my normal thing. I was just, no one else would do it, so I started doing it.
You know what's weird about doing this too is, for me, when we were recording the songs, I'm like, where do I look? It's just different when you don't have an audience.
What do I do with my hands? The whole Ricky Bobby thing. Well, yeah, seriously, this was fantastic. I think people who listen and watch the podcast will really love it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I love that song Simulation. I love that it feels so folksy, but it has major thematic elements of what's happening in today's world. And it was fantastic. So thank y'all for playing. I appreciate it.
If anybody wants to hear us live, we have a house band situation at a local barbecue place in town.
Nice.
Country's Barbecue on Mercury Drive, and we're there 2 weekends a month usually. Check our Facebook page, and we usually post when that will be.
Nice.
And we do some originals there, and it's a little bluegrassy when we're there and folky, but we do play live there 2 weekends a month.
Nice. All right.
If you go to our Facebook, we usually keep it updated. You can go to bibbcityramblers.com, but it's just going to take you to Facebook. And we also have a couple of YouTube pages, really. You can find some stuff on Twitter, on TikTok, all over the place. So.
Love it. And yeah, I'll get all y'all's socials, and I'll put them in the description and link to everything that y'all do. So hopefully we'll get a lot of clicks from that.
Right.
But I mean, that's it for me. If y'all have anything else y'all want to promote, y'all want to talk about before we end this?
I think we're good, Jake.
Awesome. Well, y'all were fantastic. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
And here we go, folks. The final song of this episode from the Bibb City Ramblers. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions regarding LP, go to lpgeorgia.com. We have plenty of resources. You can learn anything you could possibly want to know. You can reach out to any of us. We're happy to help you get into this world and answer any questions that you might have. And please go check out the Bibb City Ramblers. All their stuff, all their links are in the description below. Go to their Facebook page. Their website leads to their Facebook page, as they said. So yeah, go check out all their music. They're fantastic. Let's support them. Here we go. Ending the show are the Bibb City Ramblers.